It's a manipulation of quotes.
What is it?
Manipulation of quotes.
Well done.
Points like this are why you are considered...
I win and you lose, that's correct. And next question.
Protesters stood outside the Cambridge Union, calling her a racist. Inside, a room full of students lined up to take her apart. They came for the cockroach column. They came for the police interview. They came for everything she has ever written. Katie Hopkins says the things that get other speakers no platformed. Tonight she said them to the room that wanted her gone. Watch a Cambridge floor try to corner her, and watch who is actually on the back foot by the end. Let's get into it.
I'd just like to ask you what you would say to the people outside that accuse you of being a racist, of your views on refugees, and you say you'd like to have a conversation with them. What would you actually like to say to them?
Of course. Well, I would like, and it would be quite good if they were in here, you know, because then they could chat. I'd like them to say whatever it is they think they want to say to me. Like if they want to say I'm racist, I want to ask why or how they think that. If they want to say that they disagree with my refugee policy, that I would turn back the boats, that I don't agree with migrants crossing the Med, that I don't agree with the NGOs that currently use boats across the Med more or less as a ferry service, and that's been proven now, that we're now sort of bringing migrants over from Libya to Italy direct, 44,000 so far in 2017, the highest number yet. I'd like them to come in and discuss that with me. I failed to see the point in just silencing the conversation. And if I can later and they're still there, I would go and speak to them, absolutely. I am not frightened of debate, and I don't know why universities are no platforming people. I don't see why that helps. Your person talked about free debate, not free speech. There is no such thing as free debate. There is only free speech. We can't start delineating small areas in which we operate. Speech is either free.
The first question is an ambush dressed as politeness. What would you say to the protesters outside calling you a racist? She invites them in. Come inside, tell me why. Show you're working. Then she goes straight at the NGO boats in the Mediterranean, calling them a ferry service. 44,000 crossings from Libya to Italy in 2017. And then the line that frames the whole night. There is no such thing as free debate. There is only free speech.
I think it's all well and good you saying your ideas about refugees and everything, but I was just wondering, your statements before comparing them to cockroaches, do you think that sort of inflammatory language is helpful? I mean, what do you think it adds to the debate?
Yeah, I think when it's get pulled out as an individual word, of course it's inflammatory, and you can see that. I think within the context of the article itself, which we don't need to necessarily go into, it was used in a kind of enduring way. Obviously, when I was sat down being interviewed under caution by the Major Crime and Homicide Command about the use of that word, because the head of the UNHR had said that I was the single biggest cause of hate on the planet today, you know, that word becomes something quite different. People layer on different interpretations, such as the words used in the Rwandan genocide. But as I argued successfully against them and the CPS later, I can't really be responsible for the layering on of different meaning by other people. But yes, it's an inflammatory word, and yes, to his point, you know, what's the most offensive thing? I think that probably still is up there with one of the most offensive things. But what I can't understand, I suppose, and what I find offensive is 2 years since I wrote that column, 2015, we're still at the point where boats are crossing the Med. We still haven't done anything about it. No one has stopped the boats. How can that be? People cried 1,000 tears over Alan Kurdi, the little boy that died on the beach, and nothing's changed. Is that not more pathetic? I think it is.
Watch the move there. He does not argue the refugee policy. He goes for a single word pulled out of a 2-year-old column. She does not flinch. She concedes it is inflammatory on its own, then explains what actually followed. Interviewed under caution by the Major Crime and Homicide Command, the UN Human Rights Chief calling her the biggest cause of hate on the planet, over a newspaper column. And her closing question lands harder than his did. The boats are still crossing. Nobody has stopped them.
Hi, Jonas Dean Robinson College. Thanks very much for coming to the Union. You spoke a lot about how you're very proud to put yourself on a platform of free speech. So I just wanted to take that away from ideology and apply kind of a practical litmus test. You're the mother of 3. Would you be proud of your children if they, as you have, turned around and said, fat people are just lazy, that women couldn't handle special treatment if they got it, or that our president looks like a hobo. Is that what you'd find really pleasing as a mother?
What did you just call him? You called him what?
I'm obviously...
No, what did you call him? You just called him...
a hobo.
A hobo?
Is what
you called your own president a hobo.
It's a manipulation
I know
of quotes.
What is it?
Manipulation of quotes.
Well done.
Points like this are why you are considered...
I win and you lose, that's correct. And next question.
There it is. James from Robinson College builds a careful trap. Would you be proud if your children talked like you? And in the middle of it he calls the president a hobo himself. She catches it instantly. What did you just call him? He has no answer, so he reaches for manipulation of quotes. Then he stutters. I win and you lose. That's correct. Next question. 15 seconds from litmus test to no test at all.
The problem is that you discuss free speech as such an important platform.
Would I mind if my children... No, I wouldn't mind that at all.
You'd be proud of them to be as rude as you have to other people, with no practical benefit to society.
No practical benefit to society about my fat... Have you engaged in my fat story? Did you watch me gain 3.5 stone and lose it again? Did you?
I have watched you do it.
You have watched me?
I've seen the documentary that very clearly shows you, one individual, trying to put on weight and trying to replicate that for people that don't have the same metabolism as you, is not from the same privileged background as you. It's strange that you would take yourself to be the replication of everybody.
So my metabolism is what?
I don't share your metabolism.
No, what is it? You made an assessment about...
Individual.
Yeah, but what are you saying about my metabolism?
Is not symbolic of everybody's metabolism.
Correct, but what did I do? Put on weight. What did I do? Lose it again. To prove that if I sat on my arse and eat too much, I get fat.
He will not let it go, and she does not want him to. But watch the pivot. The question was about her children. She answers it flatly. No, I would not mind at all. So he changes ground to metabolism, then to privilege, then to whether a documentary proves anything. That is 3 arguments in 90 seconds, and none of them was his own question. She put on 3.5 stone on camera and took it off again. He watched that. He still calls it privilege.
It really hasn't answered the question. Would you find it pleasing?
I would find it. Yeah, I would.
Also,
if my children are just like me, well, I wouldn't want them just like me, but would I want them to stand strong behind an opinion? Yes. Would I want them to always back down? No. Would I want them to be like students today that always want to hide in the mob and say, I disagree with someone just so that they fit in and stand on the picket line? No, I would not. And would I want a bunch of people who think the world owes them a favour? No. And do I want my children to be villains or victims? I'd rather have a villain in my squad any day of the week.
Do you
not... Oh, sorry.
Do you not believe that what you say is on a platform of hate? When you say things like, prisoners that are suicidal should just go kill themselves,
well,
you believe that makes you a bastion of morality rather than a hateful human being?
Did I say at any point, when did I ever say, I, Katie Hopkins, am a bastion of morality, apart from just then?
It's very clear that what you do, you claim to be
some prisoners that have done despicable acts, would I leave them alone in their prison cell with a rope? Absolutely I would.
And there is the answer he was demanding. She wants her children to stand behind an opinion. She does not want them hiding inside a mob. Villains or victims, she takes the villain every time. Then he tries one more time. Platform of hate, bastion of morality. She kills it with a single line. When did I ever say I am a bastion of morality apart from just then? The room laughed with her, not with him.
Thank you very much for coming to speak to us at the Union this evening. I think we all really appreciate the opportunity to discuss these issues rather than have debate, rather than necessarily just have speech. I think it's pretty clear that you don't approve of university culture and possibly particularly of this institution.
No, not of just of Cambridge, not at all. Cambridge and Oxford are my 2 favourites. It's where I come.
Fair enough. But how you've said that it's important to change things and not just talk about it. How would you change the way that young people view these issues in order to solve these issues rather than just being aggressive about it?
Yeah, of course. And I don't think I am just aggressive about it at all. I get a lot now of emails from people. People can contact me directly, which I'm sure many of you will want to do after this evening, if only to ask for autographs and photographs to pin up on your fridge. Would you not agree? But so I get a lot of kids now, actually, younger children, that email me because their schools, they find they have no space to have a view. So they have assemblies where they're asked to put their hands up if their parents vote UKIP or whatever. I'm not a UKIP supporter, but then they're made to feel kind of shamed by that. And this is 4, 5, 6-year-olds. My daughter had to go to another trip to the mosque the other day. She asked, I helped her think of the question, obviously, why did she have to be separated from the boys as part of their trip? And the guy, the imam, said, oh, it's to do with, modesty. And she was like, yes, but it's the same for all of us. And the imam said to her, no, you wouldn't understand because you're English.
Even the polite question carries an assumption. You disapprove of university culture, particularly this one. She bats it away in one sentence. Cambridge and Oxford are my 2 favorites. That is why I come. Then she gets specific. And this is where it gets uncomfortable. Assemblies where 5-year-olds put their hands up if their parents vote UKIP. A school trip where her daughter asked why the girls were separated. The answer she was given was that she would not understand, because she is English.
So I think there's just a sort of simmering tension for me in schools where very young children are being taught, and I understand why, Trump is wrong, Trump is bad, because they see that it's being taught in schools that Trump is hate. And I get it, because of course anyone that's not liberal is seen as being hate, because the opposite is hope. But it worries me that children are being made to think a certain way. I had a guy's father email me the other day because his son had to write an essay, and the topic of the essay was, they just watched a clip of me on some show or other, write an essay about the reasons you hate Katie Hopkins. Which I get, like, it's perfect. And I did actually offer to write the essay for the son to see what marks we could get together. But the father was upset because he was saying, well, why not posture it as, write down your view of Katie, or write down your view of what Katie said. Make it not about the person, make it not just about hate. But it has been shown that, of course, for GCSE, if you write why you hate me, you get a better mark than if you write why you might agree with my argument.
This is the strongest stretch of the night, and nobody on the floor lays a glove on it. A father emails her because his son's homework was an essay titled, Reasons You Hate Katie Hopkins. Not analyze her argument. Not explain where she is wrong. Hate her. And it is marked higher if you do. She even offered to write it herself for the boy. Then the line she has been building toward all evening. We are indoctrinating and brainwashing our children.
I worry that we are indoctrinating and brainwashing our children, and I did go to Ofsted, the offices, to talk to them about it and to ask if I could do a class in state schools providing balance. That got a no. And also, we sent someone from the papers to take pictures. They wouldn't have a picture with me because they said I was too far to the right. Not physically, but politically. So I do worry about children, and I do spend a lot of time talking to kids in schools, in colleges where I'm allowed to go, to try to get people just to stand strong for what they think. I've had mums ring in my radio show saying that their son was sort of forced out of his politics class because he supported Trump and no one would sit next to him. And then the teacher said, well, you shouldn't have such strong views. I find that really upsetting. That's an upsetting call to get. And I think I'm trying to help maybe keep a bit of space for people to still be allowed to have those opinions. I worry that the list of things we can't say is longer than the list of things we can.
She went to Ofsted and offered to teach a balanced class in state schools. The answer was no. The press office would not even take a photograph with her because she was, in their words, too far to the right. Then the call to her radio show, a boy pushed out of his politics class for supporting Trump, nobody sitting next to him, and a teacher telling him he should not hold strong views. That is the whole argument, in one anecdote.
What are your views on Theresa May? Do you think she's doing a good job?
I think Theresa May is growing into her power. So I think she's become quite different over the last few weeks. She's becoming more powerful. I love the idea that she had dinner with Juncker and essentially told Juncker to stick everything he wanted up his arse. And somehow the BBC have been playing the narrative out today that that's a bad thing, that we don't understand Brexit, that out of his bag he brought the fishing quota regulations for Europe. And Theresa was supposed to go, wow, Juncker, that's really big, you're so impressive. And instead she kind of went, no, we're not going to do that. I quite love that. I love what's going to happen at the next election. I love the fact that Diane Abbott absolutely crucified herself today on LBC, which was pushed around on BBC, and then I pushed it to America. So she's now been shamed globally, and that was a genius moment.
Somebody asks about Theresa May, and she is off. May is growing into her power. The Juncker dinner where the fishing quota folder came out, and May said no. And the BBC spinning that as Britain not understanding Brexit. Then Diane Abbott's LBC interview, which Hopkins says she pushed all the way to America. Notice nobody in the room challenges any of it. 12 minutes ago they were queuing up to fight her. Now they are just asking her opinion.
My column today on Mail Online, which I'm sure you'll all read avidly later, is about how strong leaders, strong female leaders actually, and which is why this kind of feminist thing means more to me than just protesting like some victim. Strong female leaders in politics never bring out their husband or lesbian girlfriend or wife or partner to kind of use as a campaign tool. Think about Dave, just call me Dave. How many times did we see Sam Cam? Or even Nick Clegg, the most flaccid man on the planet. Every time he brought out Miriam, I was like, woo, there must be something going on there because Miriam is hot. But you never see it with female leaders, do you? Theresa May, never see the husband. Thatcher, never saw the husband. Merkel is the Elsa of the Ice Queens. She is awesome. Like, she could stab her mum and dad to death in the night and still turn up to Brussels in a pantsuit 6 o'clock in the morning and discuss fishing treaties, and you would never know. Awesome. So I can't remember the question. Oh yes, Theresa May. She's part of the Ice Queens. I love her. I even love the ginger dwarf from the north, for precise Nicola Sturgeon, for the same reason.
This is the part people miss about her. Her actual feminism argument is that strong female leaders never wheel out a spouse as a campaign prop. Thatcher's husband, Merkel's husband, May's husband, you never see them. Cameron and Clegg could not stop parading theirs. And she calls Merkel awesome, which is not the take anyone in that room expected from her. That is the thing about the whole night. She is not reading from the script they wrote for her.
Brilliant, sir.
So you
have great skin.
What?
You have great skin.
Oh, thank you.
No.
Thank you. You talked about the problem of indoctrination in education. I wonder, do you think that there are any common norms that need to be taught in education for the purpose of, for example, free speech itself? And how is it possible to separate these things from things that would be indoctrination of young kids?
Yeah, absolutely. And it seems to happen mostly in this sort of social classes. It used to be general studies in my day, bearing in mind I'm very old, where you could kind of be taught subjects by a liberal teacher, and it was all a bit... What I'd love, is to have children and bring in someone from the far left or the liberals or anyone, and then bring in someone from the other side and let the children listen and then talk about where they were feeling, they were sitting, why they were attracted to this opinion or that opinion. I'd love that. That's what we need in our schools, I think. What worries me is when we have children, we saw in the playground, I've got pictures of a lady, it was a big thing in classes was to make protest banners with your kids. And the kids in the classes, they're years sort of 6 and 7, making protest banners. For me, that's already indoctrinating kids because you're already telling them that a protest banner is the way to express yourself in life. And the teacher that made these banners then had a go at me on Twitter. Unfortunately, then I chose to publicise what she'd done, and that didn't go so well for her and her job. But she took the kids' banners out to a protest that night outside Whitehall. It just seems bonkers that that's what we're teaching children. Had other examples of kids in a playground being given Hillary Clinton mints to help persuade them that Hillary Clinton was the right president because she had a sweetie. It's just a bit craziness. And so that's why I'm always trying to get kids to say, look left, look right, stay looking right a little bit longer, and then make your decision.
Best question of the night, honestly. Where is the line between teaching norms and indoctrinating children? And her answer is not the one the room braced for. Bring in the far left, bring in the far right. Let the kids listen to both and work out where they stand. Then the banners. 6 and 7-year-olds making protest placards in class, and the teacher marching them outside Whitehall that night, handing children Hillary Clinton mints. That is not education.
But most importantly of all, even if you're a raging vegan, lefty lunatic who thinks climate change is fantastic and wants to dance on a protest line, great, but then stand strong by what you believe. Don't get knocked down, and don't let the mob, you know, that Twitter mob, when they descend, you see people rowing back so quickly, and it really worries me, the word sorry. You know, we have a few words in our language, don't we? We don't have many words. We don't have a word like the Japanese do for happy, sad. I always find that really amazing that we don't have a word for happy, sad. Their language is far more eloquent than ours. But anyway, we have some words that really matter. Racist, I think, is one of them. It's been used so often, it just is like toaster or cooker to me. Like, it means nothing. And same with sorry. Sorry has lost all meaning because people say sorry, like Sir Tim Hunt. They say sorry when they're ripped apart by the mob. And what they mean really is not, I'm sorry. It means I'm sorry I'm being attacked. And I think that's a pity. I'm not sorry. I won't be sorry. I won't be saying sorry. And I'll be standing strong right here until I get arrested. And that will happen.
And here is the part that actually applies to everyone in that room. Even if you disagree with her completely, stand strong by what you believe. Do not let the mob knock you back. She points at Sir Tim Hunt, a Nobel laureate who apologized and lost everything anyway. Her argument is that sorry has stopped meaning sorry. It now means, please stop attacking me. Then the closing statement. I am not sorry, and I will be standing right here until I get arrested.
That was a lot lower than I expected. I'm just surprised. I was just surprised.
Already in your talk, we've discussed a lot of issues ranging from migration to gender equality to education and your policies on fat people. What I would wonder is, do you not think that you would make more of an impact instead of having an opinion on lots of different stuff, rather than focusing on an issue that matters the most to you and putting your words into actions on that specific issue to have a bigger impact?
Yeah, I take your point. But then you become quite single issue, don't you? And I find people like that, you know, it's incredibly boring, isn't it? Bob Geldof, I mean, get over yourself, feed the world. You did that a long time ago, mate, shut up. I'm not a very single issue person, if we're honest. My mind is more, I feel busier than that. And I take your point, and I could channel my energies better. And people have often asked me, look, use your platform more wisely. And I hear that. I genuinely hear that. But my kind of feeling on that, and it is just a feeling, it's not strategic in any regard, as we would probably guess. My feeling is that my job, the thing that I feel like I'm doing, is giving voice to some people who think some of the things I say, but maybe feel like they've no longer got a right to say that stuff, or just don't want to take the crap, or need to distance themselves from someone saying it, even though they might agree with some of what she says, because they just don't want to be seen on the wrong side. And I feel like that's my job. And there is something easier about doing this job as a woman. I definitely get away with a whole bunch of stuff, love this song, because I'm a woman. A whole bunch of stuff. It would be like, I can say stuff about feminists, about equality, because I'm a woman, that men couldn't say. The same as if I was black, I could say stuff that I can't say. You know, we get given that gift. I see myself as having the gift of being a random, not very female-looking woman.
18 minutes, a hostile room, and not one question that landed. They came at her with the cockroach column, with her children, with the police interview, with everything the internet has ever said about her. She answered all of it, and then set the agenda herself. What that room could not do was engage the actual argument. The boats, the classrooms, the essay titled Reasons You Hate Katie Hopkins, it is easier to litigate a person than a policy. That is exactly the habit she came there to name. So what do you think? Did Cambridge expose her? Or did she expose Cambridge? Drop your thoughts in the comments.